So what do you think that says? Are you ready to lose everything? I figure we'd start off right there. It's a nice place to start. I think because you're in the room, you're not ready to lose everything, and that's why you're here, because you don't want to lose stuff. You don't want to get out there. You don't want to build a big machine and get cash flows and a bunch of properties, and then because of one stupid act on your part, and I've done a lot of them, you're going to learn about those, or one act from somebody else, or an accident, or any number of things can happen. A simple accident can wipe out you financially, and worse, probably for the rest of your life. You know, a judgment, if someone gets a lawsuit, they get a judgment against you, it's good for 20 years. They can renew it twice. That's 60 years of your life that you won't be able to make money or do anything without someone controlling it. So think about that. So you're here today, you won't have to worry about that stuff in the future because you're going to tie up stuff the right way. Okay? About 2 people out of 10 are sued at some point in their life, just because they're regular people. What do you think happens when you're a real estate investor? The odds go right through the roof. There's something that happens in real estate because they say, oh, he's the owner of the property, Mr. Landlord. You might have 2 or 3 properties and be struggling, like most people who have 2 or 3 properties and renting out, but the tenants think you're rich. And so when something happens, they sue you and take as much as they can. It's devastating a lot of times. So you want to get through that. And it takes a lot more than just luck to be a real estate agent, a real estate investor. You're going to get out there, you're going to start developing things, you're going to start moving ahead, and a lot of times people hold back. I want to go invest in real estate, but what if I am successful? And then someone takes it all away. Now you might not have thought of that before, but that might be what is holding you guys back. If you're out there doing stuff and you always pull back at the last second, it's because you're saying, yeah, but what if I do something wrong? What if something happens? What if, and you're out living in the future that might not ever happen here. So this way here, you'll be at least secure that as you buy properties, as you accumulate wealth, as you get your bank accounts in order, you won't have to worry about the future. Just go out there, make the money, make sure it's tied up the right way, make sure you try to get, you try to become judgment proof is what the term is. So it doesn't matter if you get sued. Okay, so we'll go through some of that. Let's see. Universal adaptation on page 18. Here's what one of the benefits of being here for this weekend is you're going to learn an awful lot of stuff, a lot of businessy stuff, a lot of protection stuff, but you'll be able to use this, like number one, in different businesses. You'll be able to use this throughout your life as you move ahead. Or maybe you want to travel and buy properties and go around the world and get out of the country. So here's what happened here. I see Bob in the front row here laughing about this story here on the universal adaptation. Last year, my wife and I, we were cruising around, spending a couple weeks in Costa Rica looking for a house to buy, looking for where we wanted to live. And we checked into a hotel, you're arguing with hotel people. And you finally get we get it right down. We had a cheap hotel, this little place called Jaco. I don't know if you've ever been to Costa Rica on the Pacific coast. And it's the party town of Costa Rica. So I didn't see anybody's heads turning. It's like everybody goes to party. Okay. So we had spent a couple weeks there. We're coming down here. We said, okay, let's just hit this little town to see what it's like. And in the back of my head, I'm saying, I know people around here. I know people who moved to Costa Rica, but we couldn't find them. So we check in the hotel, and we come out and say, well, where are we going to go eat for breakfast? And right next to the hotel is this little place that had pastries and stuff. And I said, oh, first thing in the morning, we'll hit some pastries here. Then we walked past a little street. Then there's a place called the Sunshine Cafe. Right in English, Sunshine Cafe, breakfast. Okay, we'll come down here and eat breakfast. And there's this bunch of guys that are painting the ceiling, they're moving the tables around. It's like, and this is like 9:30 at night. I was like, this is strange. And so we go walking by, and the boss, this thing is Dan, and they say, Mr. Dan, in English. And my wife says, that's Danny, your buddy. I'm like, what? No. Went back, and there he is. He sat in the same seat you guys were in like 15 years ago. Okay? He was just sat there, and he goes, I know you. I'm like, yeah. He goes, hold on. He told the workers what to do or what they were doing. Then he comes back and he says, come here. And he brings us down through this restaurant, into a big fancy, it looks like a high plush real estate, a high plush lawyer's office. All the high leather chairs and desks, leather top desks. And he introduces us to his wife, girlfriend. He says, this is my real estate office. We sell real estate. We do a lot of development through this office, Alan. And he says, but look on the shelf. And up on the shelf is a book like this, all the CDs, but not one, every course that I had. You know, all my courses up on the shelf. He goes, I'm able to live down here, keep my stuff going in the U.S., keep stuff growing businesses down here, and do all this based on what I learned from you like 15, 20 years ago now. This is great stuff. I'm like, wow. Just to have that real estate space on the shelf in Costa Rica made me feel good. And then he says, but no, down here they don't use trusts. But everything is universally adapted. He just said, I did the exact same things, but use the corporations they use down here. He says, so I don't own anything. I don't own the restaurant. I don't own this or real estate office. I don't own this, that, and the other thing. We go down the street. I don't own that building or that building or that building or that building. He says, where are you staying today? I said, well, this hotel. Oh, not there. If you go past your hotel on the right, you see a big complex in there? I own all that. There's 27 condos in there. You're going to be there from now on. So it's like that's where we stayed the last 4 days in Costa Rica. We used it as a base, and we went up and down the coast and stuff. But it's just the idea of, there's my stuff, and he built his whole empire with all sorts of buildings down there and stuff up here, just based on the stuff you guys are going to learn this weekend. So I'm like, okay. And then we're there a couple days, and he's, VIP treatment, and he's like, let me show you a couple hotels that we can partner on. So it just goes from there. So it gets more interesting. But universally, you can use this anywhere in the world. You can use it for different businesses, not just trust. You can use a lot of the information you're learning today to protect yourself wherever you go. So keep that in mind. One thing on the next page, study the wealthy. There's a couple stories here. If you read down here, you see Warren Buffett. You know who he is? We're the third richest guy in the world, I think. He's right up near the top there somewhere. Okay, and Warren Buffett, how much does he make per year? $200,000. $200,000. Third richest guy in the world, and he only takes a salary of $200,000. He lives in the same house in Omaha, Nebraska, that he's lived in for about 37, 38 years. It's a nice neighborhood, it's a nice sized house, but he just kind of hangs out there, and he controls. We're in Massachusetts here. You guys know Jordan's Furniture. You hear what happened when he bought that company? Who are the two guys that run that? Who? Okay, so his brothers out there, they're having their fun thing, right? They started in Waltham with a family store. Before you know it, they open up to all these others. And Warren Buffett comes in and says, I want to buy a company. It's like, we're not selling. And he said, no, we're going to, and he worked out a deal where he paid all the employees, based on how long the employees were with the company, bonuses for each hour they worked there. So a lot of people became wealthy just because they worked there for 10, 20, 30 years. They just became wealthy just because they were a clerk in the store. And Warren Buffett paid them, paid the owners. They stayed on to have the fun. And the whole company swapped. I don't even know how many millions or billions it went. But that's how he does. He bought the company where it's just running itself. And so it's like, and that's just one company. That's one small thing that Berkshire Hathaway has bought. So there's a lot of things. You look at him, and how does he live? He doesn't own anything. His net worth is, where is it running now? Somewhere around $45 billion. And he gave some of that away, so his kids could have trust funds and they could continue their style. So, but basically, he doesn't own anything. It's all in different corporations and trusts. It's not with Berkshire Hathaway. a Massachusetts corporation of all things. So, so little things like that. And then you look at someone down here, if you keep going down, you'll see Ted Kennedy. How many people remember what happened out in Martha's Vineyard in Chappaquiddick? And why did the Kennedys, lose money on that deal? Because the car and everything else wasn't owned by them; it was all in trusts. So they got with the insurance company, paid the Kopechne family. That's all that was done, and life moves on. See, so just look at the rich, see how they structure their life, and structure yours the same way. And that's what you're going to learn a lot about this weekend.